we like to make people understand is how much money you are spending in rent. People sometimes don't realize because we just get comfortable in renting and just say, oh, I'll just keep staying here. I'll stay here another 2 years or 5 years, or, I'm good with that. But here's the reality of it. When we're paying rent, we're building someone else's dream and not our own dream. So let's just say, for instance, you're renting, okay? And let's just say your monthly rent is $900 a month. So I want you guys to follow me on this. So $900 a month in rent, and let's just say you've been renting, let's say 5 years. So if you move over here to this column that says 5 years, that means that you have spent $54. You have given someone else $54,000 on their mortgage, not for yourself, not building a legacy for you and your family. That's paying for somebody else. So let's just say you've been renting at $900 a month and you've been renting for 10 years. Now we're talking about $108,000. Imagine putting that money towards buying your own home. And the reality of it is, let's just say you've been renting for 5 years or 10 years. Now it's time to move. Well, guess what? When you get ready to move, you have nothing to show for it. There's nothing. All you have is the possessions that you have inside of your house. All that money you pay to that landlord is their money. The best part about buying a home is that you're building equity in your house. So now, let's just say you bought a house 10 years ago and you're ready to sell it. You may have, 80 to $100,000 in equity. And now you're walking away from the sale of that property with that money. And now you can choose, okay, I'm going to take this money and invest in another home. See, that's the thing about it is when you're renting, you don't have anything that you can take with you. But when you're buying, you're building equity. And now when you sell your home, you have equity to use that money for other things. Now, a lot of times when people are renting, they just feel like, okay, what is going on with my money? It's like I'm just flushing it down the toilet. I can't write it off on my taxes. I don't have anything to show for it. I'm just renting, but it's never going to be mine. And there's certain things in a house that when you're renting, you can't do because the landlord would not allow you to do certain things. But in your own home, guess what? You can paint the walls any color that you want to paint. You don't have to worry about your mortgage going up. The only way your mortgage go up is if the taxes go up. But if you're on a fixed rate for your mortgage, whatever you're paying, it's not going to go up. That mortgage side is not going to go up. Your landlord could say, okay, well, it's time to renew your lease. So now we're going from 900 to 975. They have the right to do that. That will not happen with your mortgage company. So you're saying, I want to buy a house. Now, what do I need to do? I'm glad you said. People always ask me questions. Should I continue to rent? Should I continue to buy? Interest rates right now are at an all-time low. So our goal is to show you how to buy. If you're not ready now, our goal is in the next 6 to 12 months, have you in a position to help you buy a home. Now, I know you guys believe this, that 80% of renters believe that home ownership is part of the American dream. I know you believe that because that's why you're on this webinar tonight, and that's why we're going to talk about it. So there's steps into buying a home, steps into becoming a homeowner. So the very first thing you have to do is you have to decide that you want to buy a house. That's the first thing. I heard Marie talk about mindset, and she's absolutely right. It all starts with mindset. If you can see it and your mind can conceive it, then guess what? You can achieve it. So that starts with your mind. Then the next thing you want to do is hire a real estate agent. That's why we're on the call tonight. Another thing I want you to understand, all of our services are completely free to you. You don't pay us anything to help you when you're buying a home. The seller pays real estate fees, but when you're buying a home, our services are completely free to you. We're going to also help you secure your financing. We're going to help you find your home, find the dream home that you're looking for. We're going to also work with you on making an offer. We're going to talk about how the due diligence process and how that works. We're going to talk about the inspection. You always want to have a home inspection done. We're going to talk about closing on your home. And then we're going to talk about how to protect your investment. Now, this is the flow chart in buying a home. So this is really important. I know you see all these boxes and these lines and say, what in the world is this? Well, this is the entire flow chart from A to Z when it comes to buying a home. So I'm going to walk you through this. So this is the agent and this is the buyer. So this is us and then this is you. So we come together and we join forces because you made up in your mind, I'm ready to buy. I want to start the process. So let's get started. So we join forces here. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have you talk to a mortgage lender. Now, one good thing about this and working with a real estate agent is we work with mortgage lenders. So we have a list of vendors that we can provide you. So we can help you select the mortgage lender that you want to work with. Then the next thing we're going to do, once they tell us how much you're approved for, we're going to ask you to tell us about your dream home. What are you looking for in a home? You know, what areas do you want to live in? Do you want 3-bedroom? Do you want 4-bedroom? Do you want to live in Nightdale? Do you want to live in Raleigh? Do you want to live in Garner? What areas do you want to live in? Do you want a single family home? Do you want a townhome? Now, we can sell any house that's listed for sale. So any house that's available for sale, we can help you with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to set you up an exclusive search, meaning that as soon as a property comes on the market that meet that criteria, what you're looking for, we're going to automatically send it to you. So you may say, Phyllis, I'm looking for a home around $180,000. That's how much I was approved for, 180,000, and I want to live in this area. I want 3 bedrooms. I want a 1-car garage. I'm going to search all those properties. And as soon as one becomes available, you will be immediately notified. So today is Tuesday. So let's just say a house comes on the market, a new one comes on the market tomorrow at 10. Guess what? You're gonna get an exclusive notification that this property just came on the market. What you would do then is you would contact us and say, hey, Phyllis, this house just came on the market. Can we take a look at it? So what we're going to do is we're going to go with you and we're going to show that property to you. We can, you may say, well, can we change my search criteria? I want to add something. I want to take something. We can do all of that. Now, once you guys identify a property that you really love and that's your dream home, then what we're going to do is we're going to write an offer on that property for you. Now, as your licensed real estate agent, we have some fiduciary responsibilities that we have to make sure that we're accountable to you. So what we're going to do, we're going to search all the properties that have sold in that area in the last couple of months, just to make sure that the seller is selling the house for what it should be selling for, because we do not want you to overpay for a property. So we're going to make sure that, we're looking out for your best interest. Okay. Um, so we're going to make sure that the offer that we write is a good offer. And then we're going to negotiate that offer for you. Once that offer is accepted, meaning that, we've negotiated, and the seller says, okay, I agree to what our terms are, then that's when it becomes the executed contract. So you are officially under contract at that time to buy a home. Okay. So what we're going to do then is, this is where this all starts to break off. Once we go on a contract, we're going to give a copy of that contract to your mortgage lender. So your mortgage lender is going to start this process to the right. The mortgage lender is going to order the appraisal. They're going to do all your bank application. They're going to do everything they need to do and start processing that loan for you, specifically for that house. Now, while they're doing that side, we're going to continue to be working on this side. Again, this is why you need a real estate agent, because we know what we're doing, we're licensed, and we can help you through this process so that it's not overwhelming for you. Now, once we go on the contract, you see this blue box. We're going to start working to get your inspections done. There are 3 inspections that you want to have done on your property, okay? The first inspection is a home inspection. You want to have a licensed home inspector come out and check the plumbing, the electrical, the water, the HVAC system. You want him to check the roof, your dishwasher, so that if anything is wrong with these items, we can negotiate with the seller to get them repaired. So that's one inspection that you want to have done. You want to have that home inspection done. The second inspection that you need to have done is called a termite inspection, a pest inspection, because you guys know that North Carolina has termites. So you want to make sure that there are no termites in that property or there's no termite damage. And again, if there any damage, we want the seller to get that fixed for us. The last test, and most people are not familiar with this test, that's called a radon inspection. Now, radon is a natural gas that comes from the ground. It may be in one house and not in another house. So it's in the air that we breathe. We just want to make sure that the level inside of our home is not too high because EPA says that radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. So we just want to make sure that if it's found, now it becomes a material fact of that home, and we want the seller to fix it. So they can put in what's called a mitigation system and mitigate it. It's not uncommon to find it, but we want to make sure that the house is mitigated and is safe before you take possession of that home. So that's what's going to happen over in this blue box. Also, what we're going to do, we're going to send a copy of your contract over to the closing attorney. Now, the closing attorney is going to make sure you can get a clear title to that property so that can't nobody come back to you, 3 months, you enjoying your home, somebody rings your doorbell and say, hey, I have interest in this property. No, no one could ever do that because the closing attorney is going to give you a clean title, and he's also going to give you what's called title insurance to make sure that nobody has any interest in this property other than you. The closing attorney also will set up the time and the date for our closing. And then typically we're going to close at that attorney's office. So again, you can see all the different boxes, but we're going to be all working together. Then what's going to happen is once the closing attorney sets the closing, then they're going to send you your paperwork before closing. We're going to go to closing. You're going to sign all your paperwork. The closing attorney will record the deed. If it's Wake Gov, Johnston Gov, Durham Gov, he's going to record that deed for you. And guess what? You are now a new homeowner. How exciting is that? Getting your keys, and we're going to be taking all these pictures. We're going to be handing you your keys. Just imagine walking through the door of your house, not anybody else's. We're talking about your house. This is now the house that has your name on it because it's recorded in the register of deeds that now you own that house. So as a gift from All Good Real Estate, what we usually do, and we haven't done it right, can't do it right now because of COVID-19, is we give all of our clients a housewarming party as a gift. So we allow you to invite 20 to 25 of your friends over. We supply the food, we supply the games, and we just want you to enjoy your home and let your family and friends see how you have been blessed with your home. So that's a gift that we give back to our clients. So what we do at All Good Real Estate, we like building relationships with our clients. Not that, okay, this house, we've sold you this house, now it ends. No, we like building a long lifetime relationship because probably 95 to 98% of our business is referral. So if we do a good job for you, then guess what? You'll refer somebody else. If you know someone else that wants to buy a house, you'll say, call All Good Real Estate. They really helped me through this process. They really helped me understand this process. And now, I want to share their information with you. So that's what it's all about, helping each other out, building relationships with people. And that's what we're here to do for you. So this is the entire flow chart of buying a house from A to Z. So you have any questions, during the process, you can always go back and look at this flow chart to see, what stage you're in buying a house. Also, what we do is once we start working with you, we sign agreement just saying that we're going to work together. The first agreement that we sign is called Working with Real Estate Agents. We're not going to go over that now, but it explains our duties to you in terms of promoting your best interest, being loyal to you, follow lawful instructions, and providing any type of material facts that could influence your decision. So once we agree to that, we sign that, and then all of your information is kept confidential. We cannot share information with people that's not part of the contract. And again, as I said earlier, all of our services are completely free to you. As a buyer, you do not have to pay real estate fees. Now, Not only do we work with buyers, we work with sellers as well. And then we also work with investors. So once you buy this home, you may say in a year or two, hey, I'm ready to start buying some investment properties. Then guess what? We can help you with that process as well. So that's the flow chart of buying a house. Let's talk about some reasons that you want to hire a real estate agent. We always say that there's 7 reasons, main roles that a real estate agent would do for you. Number 1, like we're doing now, we're going to educate you about the market. We're going to educate you about the process of buying a home. We're going to help you analyze your wants and your needs. We're going to steer you to homes that fit your criteria. We're going to coordinate the work of other professionals, such as the home inspectors, the closing attorneys, the lenders. We can coordinate all of that work for you. We can negotiate on your behalf. We can review the paperwork and the deadlines. So there are going to be deadlines that we're going to have to meet. Again, you may be at work, but we're going to be in the background working on your behalf. And the biggest thing that we do, we solve any problems that may arise. So again, you feel comfortable in knowing that, hey, I have somebody that's seasoned, they know what they're doing, they can help me, and whatever problem arises, they're going to get the job done. Now, the 5 top benefits in hiring a real estate agent. Number 1, we understand the process. Like I said, I've personally been involved in real estate. I got licensed the end of 2006. So we have several agents that work on our team that have a plethora of knowledge. So, they've been in real estate. Some of them have been in real estate for 10 and 15 years themselves. We can point out unnoticed features. So let's just say we're walking through that house. We may point out something that you didn't even think about. We may point out, did you notice that it has gas, but you want it electric, or it has electric and you want a gas? Or did you notice the extra trim that they had in the house? Just things that we may notice if there are faults in the house.
Hey,
If we
Phyllis.
see something, yes.
So there's someone in the chat would like you to go back to the second slide.
Okay, the second slide. What was my second slide? Okay, hold on. Let me okay, let me finish this page and then I'll go back to the second slide. Hold on one second. Thank you. Okay. Um, so we help you point out faults about the property. Let's just say we may see some leaks in the roof. The ceiling may have some spots in it. We might say, okay, they may have some roof damage or some leaks in this house. So you may not be looking at it because you're just so excited to see the house, but it's our job to go in and say, okay, let me see about this house. While you're excited, we're going to be looking at it at a different angle. We can help negotiate better sales terms contracts. We can provide you again with a list of providers, and we can also improve your knowledge of the search areas. So again, these are the benefits of hiring a real estate agent. Okay, so let me go back to slide 2 because somebody had a question. So let me get back to slide 2. Okay, hold on one second. I think that might have been the rent chart. So hold on one second.
And if it helps, the person said that they missed the 3rd step.
Hold on one second. Okay, so I think this might have been the second slide. Let me go back one more just to make sure. Okay.
It's the one with the steps. So you're right with the steps.
Okay, so hold on one second. Okay, so let me just keep going. Oh, okay, I know which one you're talking about now. Okay, the steps to home ownership. Okay, first of all, you want to decide to buy a house. Like we talked about, that's that mindset. Number 2, you want to hire an agent. That's why we're here. We're here to be your real estate agent. All of our services are completely free to you. We're going to help you secure your financing. We're going to help you find your dream home. We're going to help you make the offer. Again, we're going to do a search on that neighborhood to see what the houses are selling for, just to make sure that the offer that we're making is a good offer and we're not overpaying for that property. We're going to help you perform the due diligence. We're going to help you get the inspections done. We talked about the closing, and then protect your investment. So these are the steps to home ownership. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back and catch back up. And then we just went over that flow chart. Okay, great. We talked about the 7 roles that the real estate agent would play for you. So these are the 7 roles that the real estate agent would perform. And then we talked about the 5 benefits of hiring a real estate agent. 5 benefits. Again, our services as you buying a house are completely free to you. Now, we always tell people that once you buy a house, you want to protect your investment because you're not living in a house that the landlord can come and he can do something. This is your house. So you want to be proud of your house. So the very first thing that you want to do, number one, is just keeping it clean, performing routine maintenance on the house. So let's just say that, the summertime is coming up. You may just want to have a routine maintenance done. A company come out and check your HVAC, your air conditioning unit, just to make sure that everything is running efficient on your air conditioning unit. Because when it gets, 100 degrees in July, you want to make sure that I'm good. I don't have to worry about my air conditioning unit. It's working fine. Also, number two, you want to keep an eye out on things. So as you're looking through your house and you see a leak, your sink may be leaking or your toilet may be running or something, you want to go ahead and get those things taken care of because it can save you a lot of money later. So you want to go ahead and get that done. And then, like I said, just keep a file of all of your receipts and your repairs. Now let's talk about the different types of homes that you can buy. Now, a townhome, some of you may be familiar with it. A townhouse is a house that's connected to another house. All right. Townhome communities, the homeowners association would typically cut your grass, would typically maintain your roof, and the homeowners association fees are going to be higher in a townhome than they would be in a detached or new construction home. The difference in a detached and a new construction, of course, no one has ever lived in it. Detached or just a resale means that somebody else is just selling the house. But we can help you with whatever type of house that you choose that you want to buy, whether it's a townhome, detached home, new construction. Uh, doesn't matter if you're looking in Wake County, Johnston County, Franklin County, Durham County. We work all the triangle area. So we will be able to help you with all of that. Now, contact All Good Real Estate for all of your information, your needs in real estate. Our office number is 919-378-1112. And our website, you guys can always go check out our website. You can set up a search on our website and start looking at properties. Our website, that's a private search, so you can set up your own search. Our website is www.allgoodsoldit.com. So what I want to do is I want to bring up a young lady that works with me. Her name is Shantae Henry. So if you can unmute Shantae Marie, that would be great. But I want to bring up Shantae Henry. And what Shantae is going to do, Shantae is a licensed real estate agent. She's a former mortgage broker. She worked with a company called NACA. Some of you may have heard of this company before, but Shantae she's an advocate for NACA. I met Shantae in 2007, and she helped so many of my clients get into a home. And she just have the heart to help people. And like I said, she's still an advocate for NACA. She's a licensed real estate agent. So now she can help you go through the NACA program and buy a house. So without further ado, I want to bring up Shantae Henry, and she's going to explain more to you about the NACA program. Shantae, can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Nice to meet everyone here. My name is Shantae Henry, and thank you, Ms. Phyllis, for that grand introduction. I really appreciate that. Can everybody hear me good?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, I'm here today to talk about a financing that you have access to, and it's through the NACA program. And the web address for NACA is NACA, so it's through the NACA program. NACA was started in Boston in 1988 as a local union, and the CEO of the company decided that he wanted to help people who wouldn't otherwise be able to purchase a home or afford a mortgage. He wanted to start community-based lending with the big banks so that people who wouldn't otherwise be able to purchase will be able to purchase a home, because you have to have your credit score has to be a certain way, and there are other income criterias. You have to have down payment and all that stuff. And so he wanted to be able to help the community. Hence, which is why he formulated the NACA program. With this program, there's no down payment, no closing costs, and no application fee. So the closing costs will be the attorney fees. You don't have to worry about paying that. If you get an FHA loan, you usually have to pay 3% down. If you get a conventional loan, you have to pay 10% down. So you don't have that. You don't have any extra points. They're not even going to charge you to take your loan application. And that can run you sometimes between $50 and $100 per application. So every time you apply with a different lender, you have to pay for that. That's also included, and you don't have to pay that. NACA also offers at the below market interest rate. Today, the interest rate is at 3.125. That's pretty low, 3.125. They have two terms of mortgage. It's either going to be a 30-year fixed or a 15-year fixed. So those are the two terms of mortgages. You will not have private mortgage insurance. Private mortgage insurance is an extra payment tacked onto your loan if you don't meet the down payment qualification. For example, if you do not have 20% to put down on a house, then you will have PMI. PMI just basically lets the bank know that there's a cushion in there, that if something were to happen and you didn't make your mortgage payment and they had to pay the house off, they have money in a cushion that you paid into to be able to finance, well, not even finance, but to be able to foreclose without incurring extra fees. So that PMI helps the bank not be able to lose money if something were to happen. So you don't even have that with NACA. Credit score is not considered. They don't go by a score. So right now, it used to be 640 for FHA and some conventional loans. They have dropped that since the pandemic to 620. With NACA, you don't have to have a 640 or a 620 score to purchase. You can purchase with a score even lower than that because they don't go by score. They're not going to ask you what is your score. They're not going to look at it. They lend based on your payment history, how you paid. I'll often tell people that when I was working at the NACA office, and this is the truth, this is like the truth, I promise you, I qualified somebody and their credit score was, guess what, 450. When they came to see me, I asked them, I said, did y'all pay anybody? Anybody, just one person. Obviously not with the 450. And I worked with them for about a year, but guess what? They were able to purchase through that program. Even at a 450 score, they were able to purchase. So it's an excellent, excellent program. The eligible properties you can purchase is going to be a 1, 2, 3, or 4 family home. It has to be owner occupied and your principal residence, including you can do condos, co-ops, and combined residential commercial buildings. Properties may be existing homes, new construction, or homes in need of a renovation. When I say 2, 3, or 4 family home, I mean you live in one and rent out the other one for a 2, live in one, rent out the other 2, live in one, rent out the other 4 for the 4 family. You become a landlord, and basically it's a small business for you. And if you have the right tenants that are paying on time, they could make the mortgage payment, but you don't have to pay it all. It's quite possible. You can also purchase a property that needs to be rehabbed, meaning that, you like older, quaint homes and there's a lot of work needs to be done to it. As long as the house appraised, NACA will allow you to rehab that house, roll all the repair money into the loan, and all the work will begin after closing. The work will begin for you to be able to purchase that home after closing. I'll go into credit just a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it over to Phyllis. Credit-wise, if you're interested in working with the NACA program, credit-wise, here are the pointers that I'll point out. And if you have any questions, Phyllis will monitor the chat. You have to pay your debt on time for 1 year. One year of on-time history. Credit card, student loan, car payments, your debt must be paid on time for a year. You can't have any lates. With that being said, no lates in the past year. Bankruptcy 7, you can get qualified after 2 years. Bankruptcy 14, you can get approved right away. Foreclosure, you can get approved 2 years after your foreclosure. You can get approved 2 years after the foreclosure. Rent must be paid on time. If you have no credit at all, no credit, you don't have a car payment, you don't have a credit card, you don't have a student loan, you have nothing, you have to pay you had to have paid your utility bills on time for the past year. They will ask you for a letter from a car insurance company, gas, lights, water, phone, some utility company. That's your credit. You had to pay that on time. Taxes. If you owe the IRS for 2019, it must be paid in full. You can make payment arrangements for 2018. Right now, it's an excellent time to start the program. And I'll tell you why. It's because normally when you make an appointment with NACA to get started, you go to the workshop. After the workshop, you'll be given an appointment to speak to a counselor. Right now, today is an excellent time to get with Phyllis to get into the program. When you sign up for the workshop on this week, and they have workshops this whole week, so if to get signed up for the workshop, you have to contact Phyllis. After you attend the workshop, she will get you set up to be able to go to their event that they're having this week, and the event will run for 5 more weeks. So if you're interested, you got to get in. You can be set up to talk to a counselor and get approved in one day. We have several people in our team have gotten people approved in one day. This weekend, we have people going out looking for houses. We have people who are going to get their approval letter, we know for sure, by Sunday. So if you're interested in this, and this is a one-time thing, after the 6 weeks of them doing this event back to back is over, you would have to make appointments and go back and forth to the office. But their office is currently not open yet, just not yet. But it'll be done over the phone, fax, email type appointment. I'm just saying you really don't want to do that. To go to the event is extra, extra special because the underwriter will approve you within one day if you meet the basic criteria that I just gave you today. So does anybody have any questions? If not, I'm going to turn everything over to, oh, what about charge-offs? Oh, that was a good one. I did miss that. So thank you from Bakersfield family. Charge-off, any charge-off in collection, if you had a charge-off in collection that's not medical, if it was charged off within the last 2 years, it has to be paid. If it was charged off within the last 2 years, you got to pay it. If it's medical, if it's under 2,000, don't worry about it. They will throw a blind eye to that. So if like credit cards, a light bill, maybe you didn't pay a finger hut. If it's within the last 2 years, go ahead and pay it. If it's small, Comcast, Spectrum, an old gas bill because you moved, go ahead and get those paid if it's within the last 2 years. If it's medical, don't pay it if it's under $2,000. Anything that's more than 2 years old, do not contact the company. Don't contact the company and don't pay it off. Just let it sit there. Any other questions real quick?
Shantae, this is Phyllis.
Yes.
Okay, someone asked a question, what if you don't have rental history?
If you're living with a family, your family has to write a letter saying that you've been living with them, and you have to save your money. And I didn't touch on this because of time. I didn't know how long Phyllis wanted me to be on. What it is that, let's say you're that situation, that's your situation. You have to save, especially if you're not paying your family rent, you have to save your mortgage payment. Whatever mortgage payment you think you want, save that for 6 months straight. And your bank account has to increase by that amount. That's the only way NACA is going to know you can afford to make that payment, is if you can save it. So you would save the money. If you did pay your family rent, here's the kicker. You got to show proof. You have to. I have a client right now that went through that. Thank God she's approved now. I'm out with her looking for a house. But she paid her family, and her family, she paid in cash. And her family refused to write a letter saying that she was staying with them. So she had to end up doing it over, basically paying them with money order, and then having that proof that she paid them so that she'd be able to move forward. So you have to pay your family every single month at the same time with a money order. Make sure you use your debit card to buy the money order, and make a copy of the money order after you fill it out and give it to your family, and make sure they cash it. So either you're going to do payment shock savings for the 6 months, or you're going to get proof that you pay your family, some kind of rent. If you pay your family $400 a month and you want a $900 mortgage payment, you have to save the difference each month for 3 months. If nothing else, if you pay a $950 rent payment right now and you haven't saved any money, then you know for sure when you go to the event, you will get approved for at least the rent, because they know you can pay that on time.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Shantae,
There's a
for
couple
all.
questions, and I apologize, Phyllis. So there's a question, and if Phyllis, if you could put it in the chat, how either the link or how do they get on to register for
Okay,
the next session?
they need to contact us directly, and then we can register them because we have some paperwork that we'll need to fill out, and then we can help register them for that workshop. So,
And
because
those of you,
if you
if you
don't,
look in the
yeah,
chat, I put your contact information in the chat, but I will also be following up with everyone who's registered for this session and send out both their information and also follow-up questions. So you'll be able to work directly with Phyllis. And I'm just learning tonight, Phyllis, I've been asked already for an encore presentation from you, and we haven't even gotten all the way through. So apparently there was a glitch, and there's about 40 something people that couldn't get through. So we are going to plan. Shantae, that was excellent presentation. I like your little profile over there, most chilling with her little profile. But we are going to offer this again. I'm going to work with Phyllis so we can get another date to do this. I mean, when I'm literally sitting here, my phone is pinging back and forth because apparently something happened and they couldn't get on. So this is a great opportunity for you guys to, the next go round, to invite your family. Davida, I'm loving it because you already say you've been looking. So Naka, yes, they can talk to you directly. And some of the folks that are sending me direct messages, just know that we talk about this all the time in MCE. When you have people who are right next to you, right? This is your mom, your sister, those that are supporting you, right? You need to invite them to the next go round because all of our planning works when everyone understands what you're doing. Not everyone's going to agree. And trust me, haters are going to hate, let them hate. But when you get the keys and you go in and they need to come wash their clothes, no ma'am, it costs $6 to wash at this house and you keep it pushing. But for right now, I want everyone to get into that mindset of this is just the beginning. Phyllis, I'm gonna get you to do some answering questions, but I do, right before I have you do that, I'm gonna click and I see Wanda Hunter is on with us. Wanda started with our MC from the beginning. And I'm kind of doing a quick synopsis because there's a couple other people, and there was two others that wanted to come on that, sometimes when you look to your left and to your right and other people are not doing or following their goals, then it kind of sometimes can make you feel like, is this for me? Well, in a nutshell, Wanda is a single parent, working, got the job that she enjoys doing, working with people. And Wanda was living in a community where to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back, nobody was seeing their own visions because people believed, like, I said in the beginning, this is for someone else. Well, Wanda put her dreams on a piece of paper and turned it into a plan. And here's the kicker. She worked her plan. She didn't wait for me to give her the plan. She didn't wait for my opinion of the house that she was looking for. And it took more than 2 years, yes. It took time, but she worked her plan. And ultimately, in the end, as I'm introducing you very quickly, Wanda, I can say Wanda is now the proud homeowner of a brand new spanking from the ground, nobody sat on the toilet house.
Wow.
Do you understand when somebody to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back of you is saying, this can't happen, and then you turn around and you can turn to the front, to the left, to the right, to the back and say, yes, it can. So Wanda, can you just come out for a second from hiding and I want to congratulate you personally. And just talking about goals, right? I'm going to flip off of one quick subject. Sometimes you have goals and other people can't see or understand your vision. Well, Wanda also works in her community. And I see some other folks. I see you, Miss Diana Powell, out here in the community working, right? And when you start taking your work and putting it into action, and even if the outcome is not the perfect outcome, the fact that Wanda ran for was it District C, Wanda? District C, right? Never been in politics. This is a single mom doing what she has to do to make difference in her community. Now, Wanda may not have won the election, but you know what Wanda did? Wanda didn't take that as a I lost. It opened the eyes of others who heard probably for the first time from an African American single mother living in a community who said they could not do. Now, bam, homeowner. Put your dreams on a piece of paper and stop talking about it and being about it. So Wanda,
Yes.
come on, tell me what it's like to be a homeowner.
Um, it feels good. It took a while for it to sink in, but it feels good. So as Maria said, I lived in subsidized housing in Raleigh North for like 7 years. And everybody around me had like a total outlook on life that was different from what I was doing. I occupied my time with my kids, seeing how I could better the community and how I could get out of that community. But at some point in time, I had a realization with God that it was like He placed me there for a reason. And so once I had that realization, then I realized what my purpose was for being there. And while I was there, I fulfilled that purpose. I tried to congregate that community to help them understand that their worth, or help to empower them and help to educate them on their worth and what fair housing and substantial housing looks like and what it feels like. And you don't have to take whatever somebody gives to you if you know that it's not right. Fight for what is right for you and fight for what is right for your children. Put yourself first. And once I put that purpose in front of me, then doors just started opening up for me. And so I just took that and went with it. And I just tell people that where you are now does not mean that's your destination. Continue to go forth with what you see for yourself. My housing process took a little bit longer because when I first went to a home ownership presentation like this, I was like, oh, I'm not interested. You know, I don't really know what my credit score is, and I never really thought about owning a home. And a person in the meeting was like, you know, you should look at this house. And it was Mr. Blaylock, Mr. Johnny Blaylock. He was like, you should look at this house. There's a house on Ottawa Street. And I didn't think anything of it. And then soon after, his daughter was owning the house. And so there were more houses going up in the neighborhood. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go and find out what I need to do to get my credit straight. And when I took that evaluation to see what I needed to get my credit straight, it was only a couple of things that I needed to do to get my credit where it needed to be, because I had been considering it. And once I got my credit to where it needed to be, I was in the right place at the right time for the East College Park project. Now I worked with North State Bank and Sean Knock, and he was very helpful with like easy ways to repair my credit, easy ways to help my credit. Some of them I didn't want to do. Like, for instance, one thing that really put me over the top was like, I didn't have any credit cards. And he was like, just get you a credit card. And he was like, get you a small limit. He was like, use it for something that you always buy all the time. And after you use it, then pay it off. And I was like, well, what do I use all the time that I want to pay with a credit card? He was like, do you buy gas? I was like, yeah. So I got a little credit card. It was about $500. I bought my weekly amount of gas every time I was going to work or what have you. Every month I would pay that off, or every time I got gas, I would pay it off so I wouldn't forget. And then soon after, it was $1,000. They increased my limit to $1,000. Then it was another $500, until now it's like $2,500. So I have a credit limit of $2,500, but I don't use it because I just save it for like emergency purposes. But if I go buy gas, I'll do that so that it'll continue to build my credit. And that was one of the things that helped me along that way, even though, because I had a bad experience with credit cards, so I didn't want to take that risk again. But I went ahead and I took that risk, and it was worth it. So now here I sit as a new homeowner, and just in place to inspire others. If you are with Middle Class Express, and if you're working with Maria will give you the shirt off of her back. to help you to achieve your dreams and your goals, but you have to put the sweat equity in for yourself. It's nothing like feeling good about something that you worked for. So as she said, I ran for City Council District C, and I did not win the election. But if you, I know sometimes songs mean different things, but Fantasia has a song, sometimes you got to lose to win again. And so even though I lost, I won, because there are conversations that are going on in our community that weren't going on before. And that's a win for me. When we talk about things that we hadn't talked about that affects our community, that's a win for me. So having the seat doesn't mean anything. As long as my people are benefiting, that's what means the most to me. So that's how my lose was a win for me. So I encourage all of you that are a part of Middle Class Express. Maria is very dedicated to anybody who's a part. She loves the kids. She's been here for all three of my kids, and she would do anything for you. But you have to meet her somewhere. You have to do the work for yourself. And when you do that work and you get your finalized product, believe me, when you finally lay down and you have your bed in your own house and you don't have to answer to anybody else, it's a whole nother feeling. It's a whole nother feeling. So I encourage you all to stay the course, be encouraged, and see through with your dreams.
Thank you, sweetie. And Phyllis, is there any closing comments before we get to the to Garion? Because we could always loop back if some of the questions with Garion with insurance may also tie back to Phyllis.
Well, no, I want to congratulate Wanda. Awesome. I am super excited. I couldn't stop smiling as I heard you give your testimony and talking about walking through your house and that feeling. So we're just over here. We're super excited for you. And I love your positive mindset. So just continue to stay positive, continue doing what you're doing, and we're proud of you. I don't have anything else, Marie. I'm here, but we can do another webinar whenever you guys want to. If you have any questions about NACA, just reach out to us. We put our phone number on the chat. Do not go and sign up for NACA until you talk to us, because we need to sign you up in order to be able to work with you. So just make sure that you contact us before you go and sign up. But thank you so much, Marie, for allowing us to speak, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks. Gary, you can go ahead and load your presentation. So part of what we've also wanted families to learn is talking about insurance. So right now, as we're talking about homeowners insurance, Garen's going to be presenting, but I wanted also to give you the opportunity to learn about renters insurance. Many of you are renting, and the reason I brought this up, and you'll be able to follow up with Garion also at a follow up with him, you'll be able to learn the value that many people don't understand about real estate. I'm sorry, about insurance. We believe, again, that that is for someone else, and that someone else is us. We had a few years ago, almost 10 years ago, we had some individuals that was in Middle Class Express, was living in an apartment over in the Brentwood community. And they had a massive fire over there one year. I mean, it was just, they lost at least 8 of their buildings. And in that massive fire, only 3 people who lived there, 2 being enrolled with our Middle Class Express, had homeowners insurance. And so just look around your house, just look around your apartment, wherever you're living at, and ask yourself, if I lost everything today, how would I replace it? Is what the what is it called, Red Cross, when they give you those 3 nights at a hotel, is that suffice for you? So when we talk about insurance, it goes back to an attitude and to a mindset. Once again, we believe that these things are for other people when we are the people who need to be able to make sure that we're covered in the end. So let me just introduce Garion to you very quickly. Garion Bunn, a State Farm agent, one of the fastest growing agents in the Triangle area. Garion and his team serves the entire North Carolina. Locally, they serve the towns of Angier, Apex, Holly Springs, Fuquay, Varina, Garner, Lillington, Raleigh, Willow Spring. They're all over us, guys. Anywhere you turn, you're going to bump into Garion. They offer car insurance, home insurance, life insurance, and much, much more. They also offer notary public service customers to help them with all their insurance needs. When you arrive, and I have experienced this, they offer the best. I am a coffee connoisseur, and they best coffee on this side of the 40T, on the 42. During your visit with them, they are also pleasant and very family oriented. So what you should know about Garion, he's a graduate of A&T. He is married to one wife, Miss Katina, and he has two beautiful sons, Noah and Isaiah, and that he loves them very much. He and his family are active, very active in the community, including the local chambers, the Rotary International, and many other groups. He's also a member of the Hilltop Church, and he's been residing in the area since 2004. I pick on Garion because Garion actually turns into this brother that you never knew that you had. And then the best thing to do with your older brother, and I'm older than him, but it's easier to just pick on him, is abuse him. So, here, you got a new brother in your family, guys. All right, so Garion, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Okay, good deal. Listen, guys, I'm excited. Maria, thank you so much for having me. Wanda, how you doing, girl? It's been a long time. It's been a long time. Good to see everyone. I'm excited to be here, and I'm gonna jump in to this and get past these early screens because they're relevant. So again, Gary and Bunn, I'm a State Farm agent located in Fuquay, but again, we work all over, able to write all over North Carolina, and we can serve your needs. So as we jump into this, where it all begins, we're gonna talk quickly about coverage for the home, personal belongings, liability protection, additional living expenses, and what the entire policy looks like. And then we're going to quickly discuss what I call levels of coverage. And during the presentation, if you guys have questions, feel free to jump in. You can send an IM or you can just unmute yourself and just ask a quick question. But I'll make it quick, and I will not keep you all night. She told me I have 4 hours, but I'll try to make it less than that.
Y'all help me, pray for me, Lord.
Yeah. So coverage for the structure. So really, when we talk about homeowners insurance, the most important thing you're protecting is the home you purchase, right? And so when we talk about the homeowners policy and coverage for the structure, basically you're looking at any repairs you might make to the home. Let's say you had a tornado come through. You have coverage to cover those repairs. Let's say the entire home got destroyed, and you got $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 investment, and you want coverage there to make sure that the home is either replaced or repaired properly. And so whether it's fire, hurricane, hail, lightning, or other disasters, those things are typically covered in your policy, right? And usually if you have an outside garage, meaning a detached garage or a detached structure, those things are covered in the policy as well. And so that is probably one of the most important pieces of your homeowner's policy. And that's why I wanted to talk about it first, because you're spending your money basically in that home. And keep in mind, I'm gonna give a tip here. All insurance is not created equal. And so I tell everyone, whenever you're looking for insurance, whether it be home or auto, go with a reputable company. And the only reason I say that, I don't know if you guys remember, but probably last summer, there were a lot of hailstorms that came through Southern Wake County. Willow Spring was hit really hard. Do you guys know that today there are still homes sitting there that had not been repaired? And that's specifically because the insurance carrier they had would not cover the loss. And so most of the time, your larger companies will take care of you in that regard, but just be careful because, every company is not created equal, and just keep that in mind. So coverage for personal belongings. And so what does that really look like? When you purchase a homeowner's insurance policy, a percentage of that is taken out, or I say set aside, to cover any personal belongings. And so this ties in with what we call renter's insurance. So if you were to purchase a rental policy, that policy, pretty much all it covers are your personal belongings, and it does not cover the building or the structure itself, right? But when you have a homeowner's policy, when you look at it, it covers 50 to 70% of the amount of the structure of the home. So The beauty of it is it also covers your belongings when you're off the premises of your home. Let's say you were traveling abroad and you lost things or you lost clothing. Those things could be covered under your homeowner's policy. So the other interesting part of a homeowner's policy, there's a little bit of money in there for things like jewelry, furs, and silverware. But if those things are stolen, you need to have them covered under another policy. And that's a policy we call a PAP, or a personal articles policy. So oftentimes when we're interviewing people and going through, what they have in their home so that we can look at and understand if we have enough personal articles, or excuse me, personal belongings coverage, we ask questions like, what kind of watches do you have? Do you have any jewelry that's expensive? What kind of computers do you have? Right? Because if you're out and about and those things get stolen, they may not be covered under your homeowner's policy. Now, to ensure the full value, to get the full value out of them, again, we suggest things like a personal articles policy, or we might call it a PAP, right? Any questions thus far? Good. Liability protection. So this is the conversation I always love having, because when you talk about homeowners policies or you talk about auto policies, both of them talk about this idea of liability protection, or I call it lawsuit protection, right? Because you never know when you're going to be in a situation where you're having friends over, you're having this get together, someone falls, gets hurt, and all of a sudden they're suing you. Someone slips in the kitchen, they hurt an arm, they hurt a leg, whatever that is, and they're suing you. So liability protection, or lawsuit protection, it covers bodily injury for other people that may visit your home, right? And it may even, if you have a dog or a cat and your cat scratches someone or your dog bites someone, guess what? That's covered under your policy. And to take that a step further, oftentimes when we're having this conversation with homeowners, we oftentimes talk about this thing called an umbrella policy. And we call it a PLUP, a personal liability umbrella policy. And what it does, it extends coverage above and beyond the $100,000 that you have in your policy. And if you have an auto policy, it also extends that coverage. Let's say you're in an accident and you have liability coverage of $50,000 per person, per injured person, if you will. Basically, that's saying that any person that gets injured, your insurance company is going to pay up to $50,000 of coverage for that person. Or in this case, we're showing the home of $100,000. Someone gets hurt at your home, your insurance company says, okay, we got $100,000 in the kitty toward that particular injury. So if that means loss of work, if that means hospitalization, when I say loss of work, meaning their income replacement, if that means attorney fees, if that means hospital stay, and whatever that consists of, your homeowner's policy at a minimum will have $100,000 of coverage or protection for that. But let's say it gets beyond that amount of money. The umbrella steps in and you can get $1 million, you can get $2 million, up to with State Farm anyway, and some other companies are different. You can get up to 25 million of liability or umbrella protection to protect you just in the event that you get sued by someone wanting to help you or wanting to hurt you, excuse me. So this is powerful as well. With this slide, we talk about additional living expenses. So recently I had a gentleman that was displaced by a fire in his home. So this kicks in because what happens, he had to move out of the home that he had been living in for years. And during that time, not only is he having to incur costs for somewhere to live, he's eating every day, right? He's still having to do all these things that he's typically done, but he's doing it potentially out of a hotel. So this covers you, let's say if your home floods, then within your policy, there is built-in additional living expenses because you are out of your home for a specific period of time. And so the reason I put this, this worksheet here is because it'll behoove you anytime you are displaced, you want to make sure that you are documenting everything that you spend your money on in the event that it's audited later by your insurance company. And you want to make sure that you can document it by keeping receipts, keeping track of everything in your spreadsheet so that you'll be compensated or reimbursed for any expenses that you had to incur. And the tip here is additional living expenses, they differ from company to company. And so make sure when you're looking at your policy that you understand what that is, because, I find most people want to review their policies when things go south. And so we have a habit of, in our company anyway, we want to meet with people annually, because guess what? Things change. You know, let's say you get married, you get divorced, you have a child moves out, whatever that is. We want to know, because all of those things can impact how you're insured and what you want your insurance to look like. Okay, now the most popular policy that you see out being sold in terms of insurance is what we call the HO3 policy. One, it has everything you need in terms of coverages for your home in the event that a disaster occurs, whether that be fire, lightning, windstorm, hail, explosion, so on and so forth. And so this is powerful, because guess what? This is where you get all of your protection for your home in the HO3 policy itself. There are other policies when you talk about rental policies, if you talk about commercial policies, but typically when we're talking about homeowners insurance, the HO3 policy is what most lenders want you to have. And so the thing I want you to remember with this particular slide, market value and replacement costs are two different things. So we hear this all the time, people saying, so look, I paid X number of dollars for my home, but your insurance is not showing that amount. Let's say, keep it simple, you paid $10 for your house, and the insurance for replacement cost might be $8. And we have customers saying, well, Gary, and look, I paid $10 for the home. Why don't we have $10 of coverage? And the simple answer is, when you purchase a home, not only are you buying the house that's on the property, but you're also purchasing the land as well. And so the reality of it is, we are not having to replace the land. We're just potentially having to replace the structure on the land. And so for simple math, keep this in mind. Whenever you're looking at a home and you're looking at the value of the land that the home is on, typically we use something somewhere between 15 and 18% of the value of the home itself is tied into the land. So simple math, 15 to 18% of the home value is land. And so again, if we're talking replacement cost, we don't have to worry about the land, because the land isn't going anywhere. So here we want to talk about quickly, there are 3 levels of coverage. So when you're looking at a policy, you want to make sure you're getting what you pay for. The first one is what we call actual cash value. Now, it pays to replace your things, but it's minus a deductible for depreciation. And what do I mean by that? So in your home, you might have just bought a $2,000 flat screen television, right? So you said, Gary, I paid $2,000 for this television. I want $2,000 for it. And my quick question would be, when did you buy that television? You said, well, it's 3 years old. So what we look at is, we said, well, look, $2,000 television 3 years ago, moving that forward, we have to depreciate that television over 3 years. And so you'll end up not getting $2,000. You'll end up getting the depreciated value of that particular television, or anything else, whether that's a bed, a washing machine, a refrigerator. All of them act the same when you talk about actual cash value. The next one we have here is what we call replacement cost, right? And so basically, when you talk about this particular replacement cost, you do not have a deductible associated with it. Meaning, typically when you look at a renter's policy or homeowner's policy, the deductible is anywhere from $500 to $1,000. It can be more, right? And the higher your deductible, the lower your premium is going to be. But typically, we see people right around $1,000 for their deductible. And so basically what this means is that $1,000 television, I don't have to put anything toward it. I'm just getting the value of that television. Now, the best one on the market is what we call guaranteed extended replacement cost. The best on the out there, but keep in mind, it's the most expensive as well. What this means is, so I'm living in this house and I have antique furniture. I have imported some, I don't know, some art from Africa, whatever that is, and it's priceless, right? And so my home gets destroyed and all these things are in it. This means with the guaranteed extended replacement cost, it means that all of that can get replaced under my policy. But mind you, while I'm paying the premiums monthly, I'm paying for this advantage as well. Let's say I had Brazilian hardwoods imported from Brazil, right? And they're ultra expensive. But with that particular coverage, you get all of this back. And I am at the end. I wanted to keep it simple and sweet. Are there any questions? We can open it up now for questions, and we can talk and discuss any questions you guys have about homeowners insurance.
Hey, Gary, and can you put back the slide that has your contact information?
Ooh, okay.
Back one,
There
right
we
there.
go.
Just leave that up for a little bit. Folks are trying to write that down. So I did see, Letitia had a question. When getting insurance, is there any certain policies to get even with natural causes?
So you can ask the question one more time. Let me make sure I answer it correctly.
I just want to make sure, and Letitia, if I'm not saying it right, you're more than welcome to chime in. It says, when getting insurance, is there a certain policy to get with natural causes? Are you meaning like natural disasters, like flood insurance and things like that?
No, what I was asking was, like, is it a specific policy to get when you get renters and or homeowners insurance? Should I add natural causes, flood damage?
Got it.
Is there a
No.
certain policy that I should look for or should get, being that I am interested in home ownership and or being that I'm a renter?
Right. So this is what you have to remember, Letitia. You're going to be quoted a specific policy. You can add specific things onto that policy, but for the most part, everyone is going to be quoting you to HO3, which has a lot of what you call natural disasters included. What it does not have is flood. So when you get this far inland, typically we don't have flood insurance. You can go through FEMA to get flood insurance, but typically if you're this far inland where we don't see a lot of flooding, so usually flood insurance is reserved for areas that see a lot of flooding. So if I lived at the beach, naturally I would have flood insurance. But typically speaking, or we don't see that a lot in Raleigh, Durham, Fuquay, places like that.
So
did I answer your question, Letitia?
Yes, she did. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
you did answer.
Great question.
And one of the things, Gary, and I know we've had previous folks we spoke about. One thing I will say, guys, when you sit down with an agent, and as Gary mentioned, take a look at what you have. Look around your house. If you think that having, you have the large screen TVs, one of the things I've told a lot of our families is take pictures of your house. I'm not saying go and post your 80-inch screen TV on Facebook. I'm saying take pictures of your house, of your valuables, things that you have, and you can save it to the cloud. Because if something was to happen, you have to have, we had a flood here one time, a pipe broke. And you have to show, what you had, what was damaged. And if it's something that, if God forbid you had a fire or if there was a theft or something and it's not there, how would you show it? Now, if you was my mom, you have the books that go with everything she's ever bought since 1970. And so, great. But now it's 2020. Take pictures, save it on your phone, save it in the cloud so that you can have, and then you can sit down with Gary and say, hey, this is what I have. This is my prize stamp collection, so you can have a better understanding of what your value is worth. Why get a $500,000 policy if you only need 100,000? And I'm making it both ways. You need to also understand what is it that you have, and allow him to sit down with you and walk through so that you're either not underbuying, because a lot of times we go with the cheaper policy. Book of Yucca, I'm going to ask, what's the clearance? Can I get two for one specials? Right? But you have to make sure that you're not hurting yourself. So if you know you have prize collections in your home, then this is what I need to make sure is covered. It's all about
Exactly.
making sure that you know what you're doing. And if you're not sure, sit down, schedule some time with him. And that's the beauty of this introduction tonight, is to sit down at another time and ask your individual questions. Because what I need to cover may not be the exact same things that Wanda had to cover in her house. You know, she may have more things that she needs to protect. All right. I did see someone had asked about earlier, they were looking at pricing. I can tell you, I do have State Farm, right? I've had State Farm since I was 16
I
years
do
old.
too. I do too. This is Gary, and I have State Farm as well.
And you have to know your policies, okay? I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I actually had to drop State Farm with my car, and for those that knew me, it really was at the time when I had to drop them. Right, I was able to go back. At the time, it was because I had an accident, and for those who knew, that was when I got into the accident and my husband passed. Right, my insurance rate. Now, I wasn't driving, okay, but they did this assessment a couple years later, and my insurance went up sky high. And I had to make a decision at that time what was best for me at that time. One thing that you have to learn to do is, I read earlier, someone said that the price was high. At that time when the price was high, circumstances, a lot of people don't know your credit plays a very big part in your car and in your insurance. You have to realize at specific times you have to shop around. So now it's a great time, Mary Catherine, to go back. Let Catherine take a look at it. Let them take a look at it and say, okay, where am I at now, today, May 19th? Where am I at and what am I paying for? He can go back through it. Doesn't cost anything to have him research and come up with what's the price. And then you also have to make sure that you are educating yourself and knowing, just like I tell y'all every year, right? I call the cable company. I don't have any cable anymore. Why? Because they couldn't meet the free price that I was getting for the rabbit ears. But I had to assess everything that I have. And so every year I go through my policies, I go through my banking, I go through anything that I am paying out. Now, as much as I love helping businesses, I like helping myself first. So I have to make sure I know where my money is going at all times. And then I also have to look at what is best for me at this moment based on my life plan where I am. Okay. So if you have had an experience or you're not sure, it doesn't cost you anything to have him take a look at everything that you have. And also, as we're coming down, I'm going to let you guys ask some individual questions also. I would like everyone to think for a second, has nothing to do with COVID-19. I've been preaching this forever. If you have children, if you have a house, if you have anything or a parent or someone, if something was to happen to you tomorrow, what are you leaving your family besides debt? What is your legacy besides she was a good person? I want you to take a look at, is life insurance something that you need? I'm not selling you a policy and I'm not asking you to buy a policy. I'm asking you, what are you leaving your children, your family? What is going to take care of what you may have already started, including your home? There are policies that if something happened, they call it mortgage insurance. If something was to happen to you when this house that you are going to purchase, do you need that? I just had a conversation with someone and I said, one of my policies, I am cashing out, not because I need the money, but I can take that money and purchase a house, and the value of that house will far exceed the policy. But if I didn't have that opportunity and something happened to me, I know that my children would be set to be able to pay off the house or take care of other needs. So these are things that I'm always asking you, what is your next? You're in this home or you're building for this home. If something happened to you tomorrow, what is your legacy? What are you leaving? Does anybody have any questions for Garion or Phyllis? We will be sending out again their information. Gary, and I will be saving the chat box for Gary and Phyllis. I'll be saving this and sending it to you so you can look at the questions and make sure you follow up if there was ones that we may have missed. If you have not registered, now you know you're on this journey. Now we know that we need to get this credit taken care of. Thursday, same time, there's another link that will be sent to you if you have registered. If you have not registered, it is not too late. I encourage you to invite everyone in your family because we need to build long-lasting financial planning, and everyone, including your children, need to be sitting in so we can talk about finances and how the needs versus the wants, what is available for you, how to help you fix your credit, and how to move forward. And we will be talking about stimulus checks and what's the difference between paying your rent, not paying your rent during this COVID time, because the goal is to move past COVID-19. We are looking at building a future for tomorrow. So on Thursday at 6 o'clock, we invite you to come back. And Julie, I will make sure that so the link where you registered for this class would have the next session in it. Don't worry, I will send it out to you. I'm gonna put my email in here. If you did not, if you no longer have the link, just let me know and I will send it back out to you so that you can register. And once you register, you can register for as many classes and even register for the ones that don't have dates, because those I'm working on those dates, including the fitness, the health, wellness. We're gonna have an online gardening, Zumba, anything that makes your interest, you can go ahead and register. But there's my email and you'll be able to, I'll send the link back out and register. Thursday at 6, please make sure you log on, because in order for you to move forward with purchasing your home, getting your insurance, doing any of these things, you need to make sure your finances are on the right track. Any other questions? And if no other questions, I'm going to give you a quick snippet of some resources. I was trying to see if Ms. Diana Powell was still on. I will make sure you guys get her email. I think she may have to leave. But we've been looking at resources in the community as families are going through and planning and working through. We want to make sure that you are keeping up with not just future plans, but current, and not allowing COVID-19 to discourage you. We have free family counseling and individual counseling, and we encourage you to utilize it. If you have questions, you're feeling depressed, anxiety, all these things are natural. So we want to make sure that we are taking care of that mind, body, and soul. I keep saying, and I will always say to you, once you get your physical and mental health in order, take a look at your finances. Once those two things are in order, then you can proceed with your goals. Doesn't make sense to try to work on a goal if your mind is not ready. Thank you, Wanda. Macedonia New Life Church right off of Rock Quarry Road is doing free COVID-19 testing tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. On Saturday, and I'll be sending all this out, there'll be a food distribution at Gethsemane Church, which is 2525 Sanderford. Too bad I can't type and talk at the right time. Sanderford Road. And that's on Saturday from 12:30 to whatever time the food runs out. Last time the food was gone in about an hour and a half. So those are food distribution, and we'll make sure that we get that out to you guys as well. We're promoting self-sufficiency. So those of you who have questions about your stimulus check and how to make sure you have a budget, if you are falling behind, we will be talking to you on Thursday, how to contact your mortgage company, real estate, your renting folks, whoever it is, so that you are all staying on top of the game. I will say, do not fall for the okie doke, which is don't pay your bills because they say they cannot evict you. They can't evict you right now. That is a myth that folks are falling for. They think that, you know, because I can't be put out today, but when they lift that ban, if you chose to buy those wonderful sneakers and don't have that rent money, you will go ahead and get put out. That's just the book of Yucca, being honest with you. All right. So with no further ado, I will say good night to everybody. And if no one ever told you or have not told you this for today, I love you and I appreciate you. Bye.